Way back before we had thousands of channels, both on TV and YouTube, vying for our attention, TVs had a limited number of channels that you could tune in to watch. Channel 1 was BBC 1, Channel 2 was BBC 2, Channel 4 was, well, Channel 4. But Channel 3 was weird. For about 21 hours, it was ITV. But for the time between 6 AM and 9:25 AM, that specific airspace on Channel 3 was owned by GMTV. During the early years of GMTV, a researcher called Jamie Rickers developed a proof of concept for a blend of live-action presenters and an episode of Pokemon called Up on the Roof. So called because he literally filmed it on the fire escape of the production building.
I got hold of the Pokemon tape, which was it's on pre-recorded, so we had to fill a specific amount of time and seconds. So if I cut scenes out of, let's just say it's 20 minutes long, if I cut a minute out of Pokemon, we've only got 19 minutes. That means you, the viewer, have got a 1 minute black hole because it's not live. It's literally on tape.
Yeah.
So whatever I remove, I have to replace. So I created a graphic which set up on the roof. I made up some links, started spray painting the roofs of the fire escapes outside where we were with all these bright colours and web address, and just made everything up. And then, hi, welcome to Up on the Roof. Here's a letter from Dave, who's 6 from wherever it was. It was all made up. It was us in the office. Here's Pokemon. 18, 19 minutes of Pokemon. Thanks very much. Don't forget we're doing this next week. See you later. Bye. So we now had a presence. We had me presenting and linking into it. But what the initial problem that I saw was that GMTV is a morning show, or was a morning show. So you wouldn't naturally, you'd go, oh, did you see Digging It? Which is the Disney show. And when you said Digging It, you automatically thought of the Disney cartoons. So I needed to create something where you went, did you see so-and-so? Because if you went, did you watch Pokemon on GMTV? Kids don't say that. It's not going to roll off the tongue. So I needed to make Pokemon synonymous with us. So I called it Up on the Roof because I shot it on the roof. And it started to gain traction. We were doing silly things. The kids at school would now say, did you see Up on the Roof? Oh, yeah, I loved it when Pikachu did so-and-so. So Pokemon got a second name. Pokemon was now referred to sometimes as Up on the Roof.
Okay.
And people started to watch. So that was a kind of like a subliminal mind trick I was trying to play, and it worked.
When he was asked to expand the programme further and take on the entire weekend, Jamie recounts that he couldn't do it without sufficient resources and funding.
My boss, the big boss, director of programmes, came to me and said, can you do the entire weekend? Because I'd had to suddenly produce this thing because we had this issue with Disney. So I said, I can, but I can't do it regularly. We don't have the resources. So he said, write me a plan. So my boss, a friend of mine I worked with, and myself, we came up with the idea of Toonattik. And we came up with a plan and wrote that. And it took us 9 months to create. Pitched it. They liked it. Boom, and off we went.
Boom indeed. Starting on February 5th, 2005, the basic point of Toonattik was pretty simple. It was an excuse to watch a load of cartoons licensed from Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network and Disney Channel, which was great if you didn't have Sky and you couldn't watch them on their respective channels. But the real star of Toonattik, ironically, wasn't the toons, but the attic. Between the cartoons, a live-action section in the Toonattik itself took place, starring Anna Williamson and Jamie Rickers. The two hosts would prank each other, act out comedy skits, and partake in a big boys vs girls minigame challenge compilation, resulting in the losing group getting pied.
Bring on the pies, baby. Ooh, go on, baby. Tease them. Get go, go, go. Oh, go on, Kel.
Hey, yeah, you're a disgrace. You get up in the morning with a body in the face. You better get ready, cause the first thing I want. Here it goes to dinner pie.
Hey, easy. Let her breathe.
A big part of why the show works so well were the hosts themselves. Jamie and Anna were two instantly friendly faces with boundless energy and a really great chemistry. Not only that, but with the show being shot to be live, there was plenty of subtle adult humour slipped in. Like when Jamie said this on the last ever episode.
I always had a real soft spot for Posty, didn't I?
Yeah.
I love him. That is fantastic.
To be fair, he has delivered a letter this morning. It had my P45 in it.
Also, yeah, if you had to find this out from me, I can only apologise, but the show wasn't actually live.
The biggest thing, I suppose, is people thought it was live. And it was. We shot it on a Wednesday and a Thursday. We shot it as live. So we go onto the floor, we shoot the take, and if it went wrong, it went wrong. Because if it was live, that's what you get. Very occasionally, will we do a second take? Usually, remember, as a great director called Simon, and I can remember doing this particular link. And it was like, after you finished speaking. And apparently I was going, and he went, "You're right, Jamie." And I went, "Yeah." So he said, "What was wrong?" And I went, "I can do that better than that. And my timing was wrong." She will do it again. So I can re-deliver it. So a lot of the directors, or a couple of directors would wait, because I tried to put an ad-lib in all the time where we could. If my face was going, they'd ask if I wanted to reshoot it.
Let me tell you, when we're talking about shows that you desperately wanted to be on when you were a kid, this was one of the big ones for me. It was this, Jungle Run, 50/50, Trapped, the Jeremy Kyle show. The shows looked so awesome. You'd go on, you'd get to perform on TV, do some silly mini games, watch a bunch of cartoons of admittedly varying quality, and either pie or be pied. I mean, what's not to like about that? Every day, the team behind the show would take suggestions for minigames from viewers and put them in the challenge chest. Get it? After a few of the challenge chest minigames, they would go to the Golden Wheel of Twizzle, or as I think it's pronounced,
Golden Wheel of Twizzle! So I think it's this.
Which determined one of a few set final challenges. Then, the hosts span the Toonattik Twizzler. Yeah, a lot of Twizzlers. But remember, this was before Jamie Oliver, so that sort of thing was allowed. Anyway, they would spin the Toonattik Twizzler to decide who gets to play the final game.
First of all, we need to say, get up off your sofas and say it loud and proud.
Mind your knees!
God, I forgot they did that. That's nostalgic as hell. But the ending of the show? That was top tier.
What was it like being pied at the end of the show?
Well, the first time I ever did it, we had a show with Fern Cotton, which I produced and co-presented with it. It was called Cotton on GMTV. So this was before the Up on the Roof really started. We were kind of testing the water. And I just got a load of cream and the rest of it. It's the first time I actually got properly custard pied or cream pied. It was proper whipped cream and double cream, and it stuck up my nose for weeks. It was horrible. You could always taste it. What we used to use on Toonattik was some kind of non-toxic, as it were, shaving foam. That's all it was, really.
Watching it now, yeah, it's a bit overblown, and yeah, some of it's a little bit cartoony, shall we say, but that was kind of the point, and it's still really charming. It takes me back to happy memories from growing up. If you couldn't tell already, this is kind of a personally important episode for me. They even had a massive Flash-based website where you could do a bunch of the games and challenges you saw on the show, email the hosts, and access secret bonus content with a code word that they would give out at the end of every episode. Fun fact, I remember this one time I used the girl's secret code word to go into their secret part on the website, and then I sent an email to Jamie telling him all the secrets that I found. Look, I was a kid. Give me a break, alright? I thought it was real. I'm not a snitch, I swear. After doing some research into the show, there's some really bizarre stuff that happened from behind the scenes. For example, one of their segments called Dork Hunters, believe it or not, was stopped by police because they thought it could be terrorist activity. No, seriously. Police officers saw this and thought that it might be terrorist activity.
You were stopped by police, as I understand it.
Yeah, well, I always forget the name of the cartoon we were doing. Dork Hunters, that was it. Ghostbusters, that kind of thing. So and it wasn't rating brilliantly well. We wanted to make it higher. So we did this thing where Anna and I would run out on the streets and we'd be chasing dorks, and then we'd pull out a hairdryer and we'd shoot this thing, and we'd put all the graphics on in the edit, and we'd suck these dorks, these alien things in, and we get points. And we got stopped by this female WPC rather. And who are you? What are you doing? Showed the permit. Fine, not to worry. And then just as we were about to carry on filming, another policeman came over. He was obviously trying to, ruffle his feathers and prove to the woman he was the big man, and started getting really facetious. I mean, we've just been through this with your colleagues. She's asked all the questions. She's happy. You're actually undermining her. And whilst he was going, right, we're going to hold you here under section, whatever it was at the time, 44 of the Anti-Terrorism Act, because we had all these things on us. I said, you're joking. And I said to the one, I said, keep filming, just film all of this. So they filmed it. And as we were, this guy was checking us out with control. It was half term. A bunch of kids came past. Right, Jamie, all right, Anna. I went there. See, look, they know all this kind of. Three of them came over for an autograph whilst this guy is still detaining us. So it was just farcical. And then he said, I gave my statement, and he wrote it all down, signed that, and I read it, and I said, no, I'm not signing it. So he said, well, why not? So I said, because you haven't written what I've said. I said, well, all right, we have these kind of knife-proof jacket-looking things on. They weren't the real ones. Covered in Velcro, and I had planes and sweets and all kinds of, crap hanging off it. But why he got funny is because we had a hairdryer. Mine was blue, and obviously Anna's was pink. Mm-hmm. Where your gun would be, and that was our weapon of choice. So I said, the only reason you stopped me is because I've got this blue spangly hairdryer. Right. So I said, you write down that the reason you stopped me or us is because I was wearing a blue spangly hairdryer, and I'll sign it. He said, I'm not writing it. I said, I'm not signing it then. Put down what. So eventually he changed it, and I read it through. I'm just telling Mr. Rick, as a Swiss blow for wearing a blue spangly hairdryer while filming on set. I went, I'll sign that. I signed it.
You needed it on record that was why you were stopped.
It's on record that I was stopped for carrying a blue spangly hairdryer.
There was also another interesting story about a scene with the Emperor's new clothes.
That hit the news as well. I think we got page 4 in the Sun. Obviously my boobs weren't big enough.
But I recommend you watch my full interview with Jamie for details on that. He was a lovely, friendly guy, and we talked about a lot of really interesting stuff. It's where I got a lot of information for this video, in fact. So I'll leave it linked in the card on screen. It'll be uploaded on my old channel. Please do me a favour and just watch that video, because everything else I've uploaded on there is a bit crap. I'll level with you. Do yourself a favour. Obviously, I'm limited as to footage I can show, because there's not really a massive amount of episodes that have been uploaded to YouTube, but there's plenty to discuss about the show itself. I mean, sometimes they have guest hosts like Nigel Clark, Laura Hamilton, and according to IMDb, Charlie Brooker? Yeah, that Charlie Brooker.
Good morning, good morning, good morning! Welcome back again up top to your Toonattik, the place to be till 9:25 a.m. I'm Charlie, this is my right-hand man, Jamie.
Absolutely mundo, and as usual, we have a feast of top cartoons coming your way, including...
We've got Iggy Arbuckle, we've got Phineas and Ferb, we've got Ben 10, and of course, SpongeBob.
One of my favourites, the old yellow porous one.
However, all good things must come to an end. And on March 6th, 2010, it was announced that ITV would be making people redundant following their complete takeover of GMTV. Fun side note, ITV actually bought the GMTV shares from Disney, as they owned GMTV. It's weird to think, right? This list of redundancies included the Toonattik team, and on May 9th, the final ever episode of Toonattik was aired. It contained a lot of flashbacks, a lot of retrospectives, and a lot of tears from the hosts. And honestly, watching it now as a 23-year-old adult, it kind of hit me hard too.
What was it like for those last 3 months after, as you said, you got told essentially your time is coming to an end?
It was weird, because when you're in the production meetings and then you're actually on set filming, it's like nothing's changed, because you're just focused on what you're doing. It's when you step out of that environment, you go, Christ, I'm on countdown now. And then they all said, we're going to get Rickers to cry on the last show. No, you won't. It's fine. Be upset and sad, but, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was fine for most of the show. And then I opened the door and all the kids came in, and it wasn't in the script. So we didn't know the kids were coming in. And our regulars came on, and I was just floods of tears, like, oh no, I'm not going to work with these kids anymore. Nigel Clark's going, yeah, we got him. So it was, yeah, that was very sad.
Anna Williamson went on to do a lot of other presenting work and has become a mental health awareness advocate in her own right. Jamie did a panto as Buttons and apparently has done quite a few pantos in his time, and as it happens was a consultant for Velopa, a global payments and foreign exchange client thing, which is all incredibly intelligent and way over my head, to be honest, so I'll let him explain.
Currently you're a consultant at Velopa?
I was, yeah. So I went from that, Nickelodeon finished, then went and did that late night roulette stuff just to keep the money coming in. And whilst I was doing that, I was working, it's a long story, but met these guys several years ago now. And I was introducing clients to them for bank-to-bank and money exchange. And eventually they said, actually got some clients in some big areas. Do you want a full-time job? TV was kind of not really where I wanted to be anymore. Well, I did want to be there, but reality TV had kind of taken over, and I didn't want to be a part of reality TV. So I kind of like changed location. Was with them for a few years, and then I resigned just before COVID. I resigned just at the wrong time. So last year was a tricky one.
Yeah. Even over a decade after it went off screen, there's still so much to love about Toonattik in all its cartoony, childish glory. Actually, I say that, but apparently Toonattik was rebooted in 2018? I've never seen it, I have no idea what it is, but I do know for certain that this logo looks terrible. And honestly, it doesn't really feel like it would work without Anna and Jamie. Before scripting this video, I had no idea about the huge influence Jamie had regarding getting Toonattik made at all. So hopefully this video serves not just as a nostalgic throwback, but to highlight the hard, unsung work of Jamie Rickers and all the crew that we didn't see who brought this show to life in the first place. Thanks a lot, guys. And thank you for watching this little retrospective video about a kids' TV show that you hopefully remember as fondly as I do. Special thanks goes out in particular to Jamie Rickers for his time and his insight. Much love, man. It was amazing to talk to you and learn so much about the behind the scenes stuff, and I wish you all the best. His Twitter and Instagram will be linked in the description if you want to show him some love. If you really like this video and you want to see more like it, consider pledging to my Patreon. I don't make any money from YouTube yet because my channel is still growing, so it's massively appreciated. For now, look after yourselves, and I'll leave you with the wise words of Jamie Rickers to close us out.
You know, you learn from your mistakes, and that's how you get better. It's like, you know, if you're going to be in a, you know, that's why you run tests. You have a maths test and you get 80%. So, right, there's 20% worth of improvement to be done there. So no, I wouldn't do anything differently. You know, I would just say to people at the moment, even though you were in this kind of weird position of COVID and lockdown, you know, the world, we will get out of it. The world will go on, and nobody who's starting out should let this kind of dampen their dreams. They should still put their head down and pretend it's not happening, and push for what you want. Because someone has got to do it. I was always like, well, people from where you're from, tiny little village, excuse me, well, don't get in TV, don't become famous, they don't work on, you know, presenters. And I was always like, well, it's not the fame I'm after. It looks fun. You know, I watched Philip Schofield and Andy Peters, and I wanted that job. And why can't it be? They've got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So, you know. And the second that everybody else went, oh yeah, you're right, brilliant. That's less competition for me. So if you want to do it, you want to present, you want to produce, direct, whatever it is, just keep pushing.
Twitter.